Katate ori, katate uchi. One hand break, one hand strike. The tori is in katate yuburi no kamae. The uke is in hira no kamae with the shoto in the right hand. The uke steps forward with the left leg and with the left hand grabs the right lapel in migi kata mune dori. He then thrusts forward to go rin with the shoto. The tori steps to the right with the right leg and then brings the left leg around behind to the right, opening to the left, while raising the hanbo at a 45-degree angle as he is pulling backwards to straighten the uke's arm, and then strikes just above the elbow to hyperextend the elbow and push the uke away to his left. Tsuki otoshi, thrust and drop. As in the previous technique, the tori is in katate yuburi no kamae. The uke is in hira no kamae with a shoto in the right hand. The uke steps forward with the left leg and grabs the right lapel with the left hand in migi kata mune dori. He then thrusts to go rin with the shoto. The tori steps to the right slightly with the right leg and with the left leg brings it back and around to the right to open his body to the left. He then raises the hanbo at a 45-degree angle to strike just above the uke's elbow to try and straighten and hyperextend the arm and knock the uke away. For whatever reason, the uke is too strong and does not get knocked away, or the elbow bends. The tori then lowers the right hand and raises his left hand to bring the hanbo at a 45-degree angle and press downward in a rowing action into the uke's throat to strike to dokatsu and knock him on his back. The tori can also let go with the left hand, rotating the right hand counterclockwise to strike downward with the former left end of the hanbo into the uke's face, scraping down, and then re-grabbing with the left hand on the near side and pressing with the hanbo again into dokatsu and pushing the uke downward onto his back. Uchi waza, striking technique. The tori is in katate yuburi no kamae. The uke is in hira no kamae with the shoto in the obe. The uke steps back with the right leg, drawing the shoto with the right hand into a somewhat seigan-like posture. He then steps forward with the right leg and thrusts with the shoto to shinshu. The tori steps to the left to avoid the thrust, letting go with the left hand and rotating the right hand clockwise, grabbing the near end with the left hand as the far end strikes downward onto the right kote, forearm near the wrist. He then releases with the left hand and brings the far end back to the left hand. As he is stepping forward with the right leg, slide the right hand to the left hand and strike to the left Kasumi, left temple area with the far end of the Hanbo. Nagare dori, flowing capture. The Tore is in Katate Yuburi no Kamae, and the Uke is in Hira no Kamae with the Shoto in the Obe. He steps backwards with the right leg, drawing the Shoto into a Seigon-like position, and then steps forward with the right leg to stab to Shinshu. The Tore steps to the right with the right leg, bringing the left leg around and behind to the right, opening to the left as he lets go of the Hanbo with the left hand, grabbing the right kote with the left hand and then striking upwards with the Hanbo to just above the elbow. Then rotating the right hand counterclockwise so that the palm is up, he then places the far end of the Hanbo behind the Uke's right hip in Shichibatsu. Rotating around counterclockwise and moving closer to the Uke, he then pulls down and around with the left hand and pushing forward with the right hand to put pressure on the arm to throw the Uke down and around to the ground. He then takes the end of the Hanbo and places it into the axilla and presses downward. There is a variation where instead of striking upward to the arm, you strike to butsumetsu with the far end of the Hanbo, and then stepping forward, strike with the near end of the Hanbo into the face, and then proceed as previous. Kasumi gake, Hayes hook. The Tori is in Katate Yuburi no Kamae. The Uke is in Hira no Kamae with a Shoto in the Obe. The Uke steps back with the right leg, drawing the Shoto with the right hand into a Seigon-like Kamae, and then steps forward with the right leg, thrusting to Shinshu with the Shoto. The Tori steps left with the left leg and brings the right leg around and behind to the left, opening to the right, releasing with the right hand and grabbing the right kote with the right hand. The left hand raises the left end of the Hanbo and strikes to the right Kasumi temple area with the left end of the Hanbo. The middle of the Hanbo strikes to the outside of the right elbow. Then with the middle end of the Hanbo, strike to right butsumetsu, the floating ribs area. Rotating the left hand counterclockwise so the palm is up, place the far end of the Hanbo into the front of the hip. As you turn clockwise, moving closer to the Uke, pull down with your right hand and push forward with your left hand with the Hanbo pressing against the elbow just above the elbow, pressing downward with Tsuki iri to press the Uke downward onto his face. Iki chigai, yuki chigai, crossing without meeting. The Uke and the Tori are walking toward each other. The Tori has a Hanbo in Katate Yuburi no Kamae, and the Uke has a Shoto in the right hand. As the distance is closed, the Uke stabs to Suigetsu, the solar plexus, with the Shoto. To avoid the cut, the Tori steps forward and left with the left leg and brings the right leg around and behind to the left to open the body to the right. Releasing with the right hand, grab the Uke's right kote with the right hand. Rotating the left wrist counterclockwise, bring the Hanbo underneath the Uke's right arm and strike to Menbu face with the far end of the Hanbo. Raise the uke's right arm as you pass underneath the arm, doing a right yoko aruke cross step. Do not bend the neck. Keep your body close to the uke's body to keep him from being able to do an effective counter. Rotate your body clockwise as you move to the uke's left, pulling down and around on the uke's right wrist, creating an omante gyaku. Pull the wrist down, back, and then forward to throw the uke in katate nage, one-handed throw. Be careful to pass the shoto between you and the uke's body so you do not cut yourself. Cow Kudaki, face crush. The tori is standing in katate yuburi no kamae. The uke is standing in hira with a shoto in the obe. The uke steps back with the right leg as they draw the shoto and assume a seigan-like position. The uke then steps forward with the right leg and stabs to suigetsu, the solar plexus, with the shoto. The tori steps to the left with the left leg to avoid the thrust. Releasing with the left hand, rotate the right hand clockwise, and then as you about to strike, re-grab the near end with the left hand, striking with the far end to the uke's right kote. Slide the right hand to the far hand of the hanbo and release with the left hand, rotating the right wrist counterclockwise as you strike to menbu with the far end of the hanbo. You may or may not need to step forward with the right leg. You can also strike downward onto the back of the shoto, the mune, with the hanbo instead of to the wrist to knock the shoto from the uke's hand. Ate kaeshi, returning strike. The tori is in katate yuburi no kamae, and the uke is hira no kamae with a shoto in the obe. The uke steps back with the right leg, drawing the shoto with the right hand into a jodan-like kamae. He then steps forward with the right leg and cuts downward to the head with a karatakawari. The tori, to avoid the cut, steps back and down onto the left knee, releasing with the left hand and rotating the right hand clockwise, bringing the far end of the hanbo forward and grabbing the near end with the left hand. He then thrusts to suigetsu, the solar plexus, with the far end of the hanbo. Coming up to a standing position, the tori then presses forward, up, and down to knock the uke down onto his back. Due to a bad right hip, the technique is shown going down onto the right knee. Saka, otoshi, dropping head first. The tori is in Katate Yuburi no Kamae. The uke is in Hira no Kamae with the shoto in the obe. The uke steps back with the right leg, drawing the shoto with the right hand into a seigan-like position. He then steps forward with the right leg and stabs to Shinshu, the center of the chest, with the shoto. The tori steps forward and left with the left leg, turning the body clockwise to open to the right to avoid the thrust, raising the hanbo at a 45-degree angle, striking with the middle of the hanbo just above the elbow to the uke's right arm. The uke resists being knocked away, and the uke and tori are pressing against each other. The tori then releases the pressure, which causes the uke to fall slightly forward and lowering his right arm. The tori then slides the hanbo through the left hand and strikes to the right side of the neck with the left kote. Reaching around behind the neck, the tori grabs the far end of the hanbo with the right hand, crossing the arms for sankyaku jime, triangle choke. Then insert the right hip behind the uke, turning counterclockwise, and throw the uke over your back with osoto nage, not demonstrated. Another variation, if the uke's arm does not come down far enough for you to go over the arm, release with the left hand and bring the far end of the hanbo around to the uke's left side to the left butsumetsu, floating ribs. Reach behind the uke with the left hand and pull towards you, crushing the uke's ribs with the hanbo. Again, insert the right hip and throw the uke over your back with osoto nage. This is the sake otoshi, dropping head first.